Welcome along to the EXFL Tier 2 Season 9 Mexican Grand Prix. We're here for qualifying round 18 out of 22, where some weather has approached the circuit. Full wet tyres, full wet conditions. We haven't had rain for quite some time in any session in Tier 2. So the drivers, some happy, some not. Obviously, happy Halloween, everyone. Obviously, there are some clashes with it being Halloween, plus half-term, holidays, work, etc. We're still waiting on one more to join. We're still waiting on one more to join of Josh, not Hewitt, the other one. Laser Gamer, who's served his qualifying ban. I don't know what Alex is on about. Yeah, I mean, Laser served his qualifying ban, I guess, correctly. He's disqualified, so that's what's important. So, anyway, yeah, 5 races to go then. I'm hearing it's a dry race, as inters. Well, this game tends to be a bit confusing with the inters and wets. There's no actual delta read between them. Right. So yeah, a bit of an array. Well, I say array, it's only Small Nick who's out there on the inters. Hughes Morgan, last week's race winner, his 5th win in his EXFL Tier 2 career. He knows the championship in terms of the drivers, he's probably out of it. So he's going to drive for himself between Oren and Seb. I believe he wants Oren to win, but we'll get to that. Chubster 7/10 off, Small Nick a 2nd off then. Bluey reserving as Oren. We know how good he can be in the wet. Go all the way back to Austria, and Oren needs to perform and deliver like he has been for so much of this season. He trails the championship leader of Seb, who goes 1.1 seconds off him. That just shows how much in the wet things expand in terms of the gaps. But yeah, Oren, he trails Seb by 32 points with 5 races to go. 2 races ago, he was 2 points behind, and in those 2, he has lost 30 points to Seb. 26 in Singapore after being taken out and crashing, and then a further 4 in Texas after finishing 3rd after spinning, where Rosberg lost it before the triple right. But this time he needs to come to Mexico and deliver an easy lights to flag victory. We know Seb has been struggling mainly on track limit penalties, which could also drop him further behind. And we know Morgan will definitely be in that fight too, as he's on a quicker lap, is Oren, but he's getting held up by Chubster. And he's invalidated, unfortunately, due to that, but I'm sure the times will get quicker and quicker as the rain falls down. Everyone's scoring points no matter what happens. Seb crosses the line to close in, just over half a second then to Oren. These two who have shared the top 2 spaces so many times this season. And yeah, it's all to play for 4th as well. Small Nick should also be up there. Chubster as well, they've shown some good signs. You never know with Bluey too. Eggy as well. Nathan for Aston should help gain some ground. It's funny that Bluey reserves in the Alpine, considering Aston and RB are the ones trying to chase, and Bluey may help that. Nick says Inters feel like a skate park. So yeah, I mean, clearly by that image alone, the wet compound tyre is the one to be on out there. And the only 2 out on track are the top 2 in the championship. Sebastian Ferrugia leads the World Championship like he has done all season, as he's fractionally up by 32 points. as he'll come around the final corner. Oren crosses the line, goes even quicker. We'll see what Seb can do in response. 27.5. Seb crosses the line, 28.3, finds a couple tenths. So they were definitely fueled for quite a few runs, so they'll be getting quicker and quicker. Seb, who last time out took his 10th Tier 2 career pole and his 7th of the season. Both Oren and Seb both have 7 poles this season, and both of them are looking for their 8th. Oren with 7 poles, Seb with 10 in terms of flat out career. And Seb looking for a 7th win in EXFL Tier 2, which would put him second, like joint second on the all-time list. The record is 8. Oren, however, he is on 7 victories, and tonight could be the night where Oren equals the all-time record of 8 Tier 2 Grand Prix wins, held by the Season 5 and Season 7 world champion of Logan Thieves. He's got a bit of traffic again in the last sector, but he is finding time. Seb sliding through the stadium. Oren was so excited when he saw rain at the start of this session. Crosses the line, goes even quicker. He's loving it out there. Seb trying his best. Across the line. We only find a couple tenths here and there. Oren is flying in these conditions. Excelling. I'm sure for him, he'd hope the race was like this, but it's not. So that will give Seb some impotence he needs to still stick with him. And yeah, if Oren were to win the next 4 races and Seb were to finish second in them, let's say Oren also gets the fastest lap in the next 4 races and Seb were to finish second in them, they would head into the final race level on points, with Oren gaining 8 per round to close that 32-point gap. Morgan's still on the pit lane, Chubb's still on a lap. He's got Nathan and Oren right behind him. Nathan's still on the pit lane. Eggy on the inters, so he didn't listen to Nick. We're still waiting for one more to join. It's Josh, but he's not checking his phone. So Bluey on his outlap at the moment. Smolnik, who's found a lot of time, heads to the final sector now. Sketchy conditions as Chubster crosses the line. Nick will follow, go P3 instead, only a couple tenths off Seb, who follows Oren into the pit lane, so they're done with their runs and they'll go again sooner. And with less people, that's less chance of a safety car as well, so this could just all be about pace wise. As well as penalties, they are going to affect things. And Seb, we know, is prone to getting a couple. And I'm sure Oren would love for the likes of Nick and Morgan and Chubster maybe to take some points off Seb as well to help him close quicker. We know it took Oren about 4 races to close, well, 3 or 4 to close 28 points after Hungary, to close it to 2. Well, he's got the exact same time margin, but a few more points in hand. And at this rate, the way Oren has to close, he has to pretty much beat the win record. He has to get at least 2 wins, close in, because he's not even within a win of Seb at the moment. So for this championship battle to really have a proper ending, Oren needs to deliver perfection in these last 5 rounds. But Seb just needs to be all the consistent. Like I said, he can finish second for the next 4 races. And Oren can win the next 4 and still lead. Well, unless he gets fastest lap in them all. We have Smolnik round the final corner, heading into the pit lane, invalidated. Chubster on a bit of a slow lap. We've got Bluey on the inters, same with Eggy. As Oren, with just under 6 minutes remaining, heads out into the pit lane. You can see the rain has gotten a little lighter. It was chucking it down, now it's just around the middle stage of normal rain. As Eggy goes P2 with that lap, so even on the inters, as Oren's also gone on the Inter, so it does seem like the Inters now are the favourable choice. 100% looking like it. So that 26-8 from Oren, don't be surprised if that gets absolutely obliterated now. And it's Oren's pole to lose at the moment. But yeah, Eggy splits the two rivals. Right then, Oren begins his lap, riding on board with the Aston Martin, blasting his battery, heading down into turn 1. Usually, we're so used to this in the dry, but in the wet, still heavy braking, making sure not to lose the rear, take a lot of curb into turn 1, slide into 2 and 3, so easy to lose so much time. No DRS, of course, in the wet, finishing the first set to split. Let's see how much he's up by. Tight line to the right. He's up by 2/10, heading in to turn 4. Once again, taking some curb. Smooth with the throttle and the steering. Put it together to deliver a great line for a great lap. Technically, that's one corner, the right-hander. Now into turn 7. Flick it left. Use a bit of grass as well. Use all the curb possible to maximise exit. Sliding to help you not get invalidated. But that, unfortunately, is invalidated for Oren. Chubster still on the wets. Oren, who was nearly 6/10 up, will have to go again. Unless he's only fueled for one run, then he's got to get back into the pits. And it looks like that's what Seb's going to do. He's going to leave it down to one run. So yeah, he's back in the pits. Chubster, will he also enter the pit lane? Yes, he will. So Inters are the right tyre to be on towards the end of this qualifying session. With just under 3 minutes remaining, they'll all be in the pits and they'll all be gearing up to get out and get ready. There exits the Alpine, followed by the Mercedes. So Eggy exits the pit lane. Seb also. Smolnik about to begin his lap, as well as Morgan. You can see how lighter the rain is compared to the start of the session. And that's one of the Astons exiting the pit lane. I believe that's Oren. Yep. And then Chubster's just exited his box. So we're still awaiting Bluey and Nathan. As Smolnik begins his lap then. 1 minute 40 remain. So Bluey and Nathan better get out the pit lane soon. Actually, I believe they're done with qualifying then. Nathan, who didn't decide to set a lap time. Seb's beginning his now. So Laser will start 9th. Nathan will be 8th. Bluey will be 7th. That might be a career best starting position for him. But anyway, the top 6 are the ones to watch then. Morgan, Chubster, Eggy and Oren haven't started their lap. Seb into turn 1 then for his final run. Remember, his run was on the wets, so there's a lot of time to find with the better rain tyre. It's currently lacking 1.2 seconds. If Oren, for some reason, messes up his lap, this is the one that counts for Seb, who's half a second up with a 31.2 in the first sector. What's Morgan doing? He's just started his lap. Nick, 1.5 seconds up, 1.3.9, and he's invalidated. He's got 40 seconds to cross the line. I do not know if he's fueled enough, but he's certainly trying to charge his battery. Oren now starts his final run in qualifying. Eggy, 12 seconds up the road into turn 1. Seb still kept it valid into the second sector. 3.9 as well, 1.5 seconds up. So at the moment, this will be provisional pole. As long as he can keep it valid through the stadium. Slides into the hairpin. Only a couple corners to go now. Round the final corner for the championship leader. Bouncing over the curb. Line of least resistance, but goes wide to maintain traction. Crosses the line, and it's provisional pole for Seb. A 26.2. What can Oren do? He's half a second up. About 4/10 clear of Seb in the first sector alone. Oren can take it cautiously if he wants to. It will probably be pole still. But he's still going to go for it. Eggy's on the wets. Chubster 2. Smallneck invalidated. So he'll start no higher than 5th. Morgan on the inters has still got to find some time. At the moment, it's good enough for 4th. He might just sneak into 3rd. Crossing the line for the Alpine driver. It is P3 for Morgan. But what about Eggy? Can he find another half a second? Even on the wet compound tyres. Can he dislodge Morgan and start on the front of the second row? Round the final corner for the Mercedes driver. And it's P4. He misses out by just over a 10th on the wet compound tyre. He will take that as big crash there for Chubster. P5. And Oren, to no surprise, takes his 8th pole of the season and his career by a blindstorming 1.3 seconds. But I'll tell you what, Seb is going again. But he's going to need a monstrous last sector to find a whole second. We know Oren is on pole. Nick will cross the line for 6th. And yeah, it will be the front row once again for these two. Seb round the final corner to see how closer he can get to Oren across the line. 8/10. So it looks like Nick said he was 2 seconds up and then invalidated. So he could have potentially been up there as well. Anyway, the race is going to be a different story. Definitely dry. 36 laps ahead of us. And with 5 rounds to go, Oren's bid to close down Seb's lead begins now then. He tried to in Texas, but Seb was just too quick. He had the pace. Oren was struggling on traction and rear end, which in Mexico you could also have the same issue, but a clear indication for Mexico compared to Texas. The penalties are going to be vastly superior and crucial for this one. That's what Seb has to avoid. He can afford to finish second, but he's still going to try and fight Oren for the win. And the run down to turn 1 is one of the most suspenseful of the season. Let's see if Oren can hold on to it. He's got his 2 closest rivals, Seb and Morgan, right behind him. And let's see what happens. Everyone's starting on the mediums at the moment. And here are the ticking noises. As we gear up for round 18 out of 22. We're in the final few races now. Oren versus Seb. It's the Mexican Grand Prix with the Aston on the left, the RB on the right, and like we always say, after the 5 lights go out, it's lights out and away we go. Oren versus Seb off the line. Who's going to get the best launch to head into turn 1 in the lead? And it looks like they're going to remain wheel to wheel with Morgan and Eggy in the slipstream. Oren dives ahead, and here comes Morgan round the outside to get in front of Seb. Is he going to take the lead? Later on the brakes, it's Oren into turn 1 in front of Morgan. Then Seb down to P3. Eggy fighting Smallneck for 4th and 5th. And it looks like Nick has got the place. Eggy goes a bit wide as Chubster will now look to see if he can get the place, and does. Then Nathan, then Bluey, Laser, still 9th at the moment. Oren leads out in front of Morgan, then Seb, Nick, Chubster going wide as Nathan. Off the track there, down to 9th. Laser down the inside of Bluey up to 7th, who goes wide to avoid him. So 2 places gained already for the Ferrari, and a place gained for Morgan, who's trying to take the lead from Oren, but Oren stays in front. on the tighter line, makes him go wide. Morgan's all over the back of him. They're wheel to wheel, the top two. And Oren, once again, sliding his way back up into the lead. Seb watching this unfold. As a Laser making another move on Eggy. Wheel to wheel stuff, Chubster. And they all managed to make their way through unscathed. Single file down the inside goes Laser. What a send from the Ferrari as the Sauber tries to hold off as just about avoiding a spin there. Laser, the ever opportunistic on the brakes on lap 1 as Morgan is sizing up a move. 50%, 30%. He's in the slipstream now. And the Alpine will pull to the left. Can he take the lead away? We see Seb in the slipstream as well. And Oren flashing. Morgan round the outside. They break evenly, but Morgan will take the lead in front of Oren. Like we've seen so many times this season. These three battling. It's a joy to see. And yeah, everyone did start on the mediums as Eggy gets back in front of Laser. They remain single file. Laser not close enough to try a send. So at the moment, the top 4, close as it is. And then Chubster, Eggy and Laser, and then Nathan and Bluey. That's probably going to be the 3 parts of this race. Morgan knows he's not in the championship fight now, but he can still have an impact on it. And remember, he was fighting for the win last season when Logan became champion. And didn't really put up too much of a fight. He knew the championship was at stake that race. The championship is not at stake this race, but it is slowly building its formation and cooking towards us. Laser once again sends it as Chubster gets the first penalty. And a bollard went there, so I think Laser again made an opportunistic move on Eggy. And now the DRS is activated. Yeah, building up to the finale, which we hope this will go down to. Remember, Seb's in the slipstream of the pair of them with a lot of battery. He's in none still as Oren takes back the lead. And I'm not sure, and I'm sure that will not be the first time. I'm sure that will not be the only time I say that. As Laser's got wing damage, you can see, even before he rammed into the back of the Mercedes there. As there we go, Seb on Morgan for P2. So the top 2 remain, well, top 3 remain how they started. And Nick in the slip of all of them. So best case scenario for Oren, he wins the Grand Prix, and Seb with this 3-second time penalties drops to about 4th. That would gain him 13 points, which would go 32 down to 19. But at any moment, anything could happen. And you never know if they've already got some warnings by now. As look, Oren's trying to break the DRS, but Seb has plenty of battery to use if need be. And yeah, Seb's not even close to losing it. So he's fine for now. Chubster, bit on his own now, as Eggy has nearly dropped Laser. And Nathan's actually closing in on them, but Bluey is falling a bit behind now. So Oren trying to break the toe as we start lap 4 of 36. And here we go then, Seb gaining with medium battery, DRS enabled. Morgan, who's fallen a bit behind now, under pressure from Nick, who goes around the outside of the Alpine. Late on the brakes, positions his car perfectly to stay in front, and Nick is now up into 3rd. And Oren should take this chance to probably put it in none, save some battery. He knows he's not going to pull away from these lot at the moment. As Laser and Eggy fight once again for 6th and 7th. Slight bit of contact as Eggy's trying around the outside of the Ferrari. The Ferrari, I don't even know what that was. But it's probably deserved. Just looked like he went straight on. As Morgan, there it is. Morgan is out of the race and causes a crash to bring out the safety car. So here's the question. Does anyone just... Yeah, Nick. He's going to do what he did in Texas. Take the hards like the entire race. Chubster also in. Nathan's going to be P3 here. Eggy pits. Bluey pits. And Laser should pit. He's got a damaged wing. So yeah, it was a weird collision between Laser and Eggy. It looked like Laser just kind of forced Eggy wide, or just didn't decide to turn for the corner. And then that weird bounce glitch happened where he spun. exits the pit lane. He didn't change his front wing. So this is interesting. The top two, not only in the race but in the World Championship, have stayed out. Well, a lot of people behind have pitted. The only one who didn't was Nathan. Now, I'm not saying... well, I don't know if Hearts can go that long. They've usually stood the test of time on this game to go a very long way of the race, but I don't know about that. But yeah, Morgan, he got a 3-second, and then right here, he either just lost it or binned it. So, it's not the end of the world for the top two. They have another... Oh. Did they just have another moment? I don't know. Oren and Seb, they have another moment and chance to pit if they want to. As one Aston nearly runs into the other. And what do? Do they both stay out? They do. Same with Nathan. So, yeah, this is going to be very interesting. Because Nick has the pace, Chubster has the pace, I'd say Eggy also has the pace. So these three are certainly going to throw a spanner in it. Look at that, 3 Aston Martins in one image as under safety car. Oh. Laser into the pit lane, Spades. Is he gonna... Yeah, this time they're changing the front wing. Putting the softs back on. But that means he has to come in again to serve his 10 sec. Not the most ideal start to the race for the Ferrari. Any fuel concerns are probably out the window now, so that won't be an issue. This does help the tyre life, at least for the mediums, extend a little longer. And yeah, the top two could be in a bit of trouble here. Because as much as they'll have the pace to pull away, Nathan will probably hold the guys up behind unless they can clear him quickly. So these two have to... I know they're fighting for a championship, but to fight for 1 and 2 again by lap 36, they may have to work together. Pulling away, swapping, using the mediums of what they have left, gaining a gap, pitting, gaining on these guys when their hards are really old, and they pit for their own set of hards and then close up. It's going to actually be a very interesting race now. It is pretty much a testament actually for what these two can do. It's going to be out for one more lap because Laser's yet to catch. And yeah, because it's 10 or less, everyone's getting points, even Morgan. Quickly check the race director. Seb, exceeding track limits. Seb, exceeding track limits. Oren, exceeding track limits. Oren. Oh. Wait, what? He hit the safety car. As Laser serves his penalty. At this rate, I don't know if he's going to catch the safety car. He should. Just looking at Oren's wing now, it seems fine. But yeah, Oren's on 1 warning already, Seb's on 2. If anything, this safety car helps them because it's more laps where they don't have to head into these corners. And yes, Mexico is very easy to get a warning here and there. And you wouldn't be surprised if you pick up however many pens, but yeah. Oh, that's good. Nick feared he may have to go AI sometime in this race. Looked like he found the perfect time to do it under safety car, so that's out the window. Right, the safety car should be coming in this lap. It is, and Laser... Whoa. I think that's fine. Laser should catch them. Just. But, yeah, Oren's got to make sure he doesn't repeat what he did in Italy and do too bad of a restart. Where he can't speed up or slow down. He's got to keep at a constant pace. very slow around there, but it is a slow corner per se. Laser has pretty much caught the pack, and Oren will be gearing up to go full throttle and restart the race. Lap 8. Seb blasting his battery in the slipstream of Oren. They're trying to pull away. Nathan's blasting all of his battery as well. He's in the slipstream with a pair of them. Nathan round the outside, making it 3 wide. Can Nathan get into the lead of the Mexican Grand Prix? Yes, he can. He's into the lead as Oren and Seb fight for second and third. Unbelievable. Nathan gets the pair of them, the top 2, and Nathan now leads into turn 4. Oren, Seb, and watch out for Nick as well. Round the outside of the RB. Seb still to the inside. Oren leaves them some space. Aston 1-2 at the moment. But Seb coming back round the outside. Goes off the track a bit there. Gets a 3-second time penalty. And Nick trying to find a gap. Can't quite. So Seb can say he may have been forced off or whatever. But it's only lap 8. I'm sure he's bound to get another warning here or there. But Aston Martin 1 and 2 at the moment. And I'm sure Nathan for the championship will not put up too much of a fight to Oren. But look behind Seb. He's got a bunch of cars gearing up and ready. Down the inside, Nick tries a move on Seb. Thinks better of it. And that's not exactly worked out for him. Chubster all over the back as Bluey's also already been left. Laser, we put the hards back on. And now Oren, 30%. Nathan blasting all his battery. But yeah, now Oren senses a chance to go for the move, but is he close enough? Look at them. They've all top 4 have all got no battery. And does Oren afford to stay behind Nathan for one more lap, or does he get him now? Nathan enjoying his race so much at the moment. Of course, the top 3 are yet to pit. And it looks like no swaps for the top 4. And at the moment, they all just got to really watch their braking. Look how close they all are. Seb and Oren make slight contact. But no love lost. But yeah, crazy restart from Nathan. He was just in the slipstream. He decided to go for it, burn all his battery, and now he leads the Mexican Grand Prix in what, his 69th, his 70th Tier 2 race? Something around there. So what a good race for him so far. But Chubster fighting with Nick for P4. This is essentially net P1 between the Sauber and the Williams. And the Williams down the inside on Seb. Thinks better of it again. So here we go then. This is where Nathan could see his lead come to an end. DRS activated as Laser gets another penalty. And past Bluey. Nearly back within this train. As here comes Seb passing Oren. But Oren's in the slipstream now of Nathan. Now pulls out to the right. Seb and Oren fly past him. And will resume their 1 and 2 action. Oren from Seb, from Nathan. It's like we were at the restart. Nathan now trying to do a little switch on Nick. Nick trying to do a switch on Nathan. Goes a bit wide there. Has hot lap enabled. Nathan's using everything he has, but Nick to the inside now. Late on the brakes. Slight contact, but Nick will now go around the outside of Nathan. Give him just enough space. Has the traction. Nick now into P3. And yeah, Chubster is going to be eager to get past the Aston Martin, who's unfortunately going to fall down the order. Even if he had the pace, he's still yet to pit. And pit stops should probably come in the next 5 or so laps. As look at that, Oren has already got a second over Seb. But Seb has plenty of battery to use. However, is he going to use Nick to his advantage as he slides out on the stadium? And look how much Oren's pulling away from Seb now. I said they need to work together. Oren thinks for himself, and he's gone. He doesn't want to give Seb any advantage he needs. Of course, they are fighting for the World Championship. So this is where Nick has his opportunity to get past Seb. And Chubster wastes no time to get past Nathan. They know Eggy, Chubster and Nick are all in a fight for maybe even more than a podium, maybe even a win. Slight contact between Chubster and Nathan as Nathan tries to hold on, but Chubster gets in front. Crucially, he's lost a second to Nick, who is looking for victory today. Now he's in the slipstream of Seb. Now he's got the battery. Now he's got the DRS. Now he has P2. And he's nearly within a second back of Oren as Eggy and Nathan fight. Chubster's unfortunately left as there's more contact. Laser with another penalty. As Nathan stays in front of Eggy. And that's so unfortunate for Chubster. Eggy now gets a 3-second time penalty too. So Smolnik, who's just within as Chubster's back, that's good to see. And actually, he hasn't really lost any penalties. Just down the inside. Laser once again causes probably the 10th collision in the last 3 races. Tags Nathan round a bit. Don't know if he has damage again, but yep, that's Nathan who was leading. Now down to 7th, unfortunately, and is still yet to do a pit stop. Chubster's left again. Laser now fighting Eggy, as Smolnik's definitely caught up to Oren. Yeah, I don't know if he's restarting his game or something. Oh, that might be it for Chubster then. As the top 3 have broken away. 5.7 ahead of Laser, who's in front of Eggy, who unfortunately didn't have the pace to stick with them. Chubster is going to fall even further behind. I don't know if he's going to join back or not. So Nathan trying to get past. Gets a little bit of DRS as well to help his cause. So that leaves the top 3. And yeah, the more Nick can do, I think more for Seb's benefit, the better. Because Nick looks set to stick with these guys. And he's going to have a whole pit stop advantage to these guys when they pit. And they're going to try and close it down. But Nick just needs to look after his hards, stick with these guys. And yeah, he's taken the lead already. So yeah, for Seb's benefit, he'll want Nick to win the race if he can't win it. Because he won't want Oren to win it. And yeah, this could be a bit of a threat to Oren. The earlier he pits, the better maybe. Because he knows he has the pace to close on Nick. But yeah, Seb could do the same thing, undercut-wise. Because we could still see these two fighting for position. Remember, Seb has that 3-second. But we're only past a third way distance. I'm just going to quickly message Chubster. There we go. Right, we're going to start lap 14. This is where the pit stops will start to begin in the next couple laps. Laser Gamer, with 9 seconds of penalties, finds himself up in 4th in front of Eggy, who looks to be set for another 4th. And Nathan, at best, could still finish 6th because he knows he's probably going to beat Chubster potentially. His AI and Bluey, he's pulling ever further in front. Looking to the front, no swaps. Pretty equal battery between the two. And I think Seb just got another warning on the last lap. He did. So doesn't really matter about that excursion at turn 5. Seb will certainly have the 3-second time penalty at the end. And, well, Oren's on 1 from what we checked. He might be on 2 now, I don't know. But, yeah, you can see the medium's already starting to take a bit of effect as Smolnik is in the zone. 1 race win to his name in Vegas last season. And he came into this season saying, maybe drop me to reserve, don't know if I'm going to make every race, but he's certainly turned up to enough to call himself a full-time driver again. And he hasn't actually missed that much, which is great to see. And he has been in there in the fight. Just consistency-wise has let him down, and a bit of unlucky moments as well. Italy crashing in the pit lane. Baku crashing on the last lap. Last corner. That was very unfortunate. He said after he's never touching this game again. Well, I'm glad he has today because he is in a very good position at the moment. Quick look at... yeah, fastest lap still goes to Oren. That should probably be beaten by the end. And yeah, already 10 laps on those hards. They're going to have to go 31 laps, is Nick. As something's happened to Seb. He's dropped off a lot. And it might be time for Seb, if he's got any salvage of gaining back that time, it may be time to pit. Which it is. So, Seb lost a bunch of time. He must have made a mistake sliding out of a corner, because he lost well over 2 seconds. And Oren in the slipstream with the DRS. He's going for the move on Nick into turn 1 for the lead of the Mexican Grand Prix. Nick doesn't put up a fight, as they pretty much have the same battery level. As Nick trying a switchback, but Oren has DRS again. So, Seb will pit for the hard compound tyres. Will exit the pit lane. He's got to have a great in-lap to gain 2 seconds back on Oren. As he exits, still in front of Bluey. And instant free air once he gets past that AI. Laser still under pressure from Eggy. Plenty of battery between the pair of them. And Nathan and Oren, the two Astons, still yet to pit. It still says safety car for some reason. As yeah, Seb clears the AI. And we'll close up to Nathan soon. Smolnik right behind Oren. He's that quick. He wants to get past him here. Obviously, Oren's in none, which is going to help Seb's cause. And you can see Oren sliding and struggling now on those mediums that are starting to wear away. And you'd expect he would pit this lap, which he does. So, here we go then, to start lap 17, nearing the halfway point of the Mexican Grand Prix. Smolnik leads the Mexican Grand Prix 21.6 seconds in front of Seb. It'll be mainly where he is in front of Oren, who's already made his pit stop. So he's coming round the final corner is Seb. Already closed a lot to Nathan. And he'll see his teammate exit the pit lane. There's Nathan, who's going to go past. Seb sees him right in front of him, and he's back within DRS. So, well, literally, Seb used everything, all his battery, to do that. And actually, unfortunately for Oren, he's got his teammate in front of him that's going to hold him up until he gets completely out the way. That is the team game from Nathan. But he has let Seb up to him as well, and he can afford to now save battery. Oren versus Seb then. They are 21.5 seconds off Smolnik. They have 19 laps to close in, so they need over a second a lap on Nick. So, yeah, it's going to get interesting. And remember, that's not only just for Nick. Eggy and Laser are fighting for position, so they've got to also gain on these guys. It is ramping up, and for Seb's sake, he won't mind it too much. For Oren's sake, he still needs to win this Grand Prix. And hope penalties affect a lot. But Seb breathing down his neck, putting Oren under the pressure. 32 points between them. Oren knows he has to win this race to embark his challenge in the final few races gaining. But Seb is going to pull to the right as Nathan unfortunately speeds in the pit lane. And Seb is going to overtake his rival into turn 1. The two protagonists go wheel to wheel. And Seb will get in front. And we'll have another helping of the DRS and as they exit turn 3. As Eggy and Laser swap. And Eggy now finds himself up in second. Laser all over the back of the Mercedes. And Seb finds himself in front of Oren. So 21 now becomes 20.1. So they have gained just over a second on that lap. They need to keep doing these sorts of lap times. And pretty much, for Oren's sake, he needs to work with Seb with the DRS to gain on Nick. And it's just a case whether if Nick's tyres last as well. If at any point from now till then Nick comes into the pits, it could be a done deal that Oren will win the race, because they'll definitely catch these two. And he's definitely got the penalty advantage of no penalties. Technically, Laser's 1 lap younger as well, because he also pitted for softs, then back onto the hards. Now he's got the DRS to Eggy. They're both in medium. And Oren has got plenty to use. He's using his battery, and he's going to fly past Seb. And Laser couldn't quite fly past Eggy. Going wide there. And that's going to lose him even more time. We'll keep it on leader. Why not? 19 seconds now. They've taken another second out. And yeah, this is going to be close between them and Small Nick. What does Nick do? Does he push like crazy to the end? That was probably a warning. Or does he have to look after the tyres a bit? You can see him sliding a bit already. And you can see in the background from Laser, there are the top two in the championship. With Morgan out, that pretty much confirms he's not going to challenge at all. Seb took a lot of curb there. Wouldn't be surprised if that's another warning. But he's got to save some battery as well. He's on 30 to Oren's 75. 18, another second. And I wouldn't be surprised by 10 laps time they could catch him. Not even by the final lap. But remember, those tyres are going to wear out as well. But Nick's will be certainly a lot worse for wear. Laser, 12 seconds of time penalties now. He's nearly lost DRS. In fact, he has lost DRS to Eggy. And this is going to be the interesting one. How quickly and confidently and smoothly can they get past Laser Gamer? As, speaking of getting past, Seb to the inside does get past Oren. The third swap in a row. Still a lot of time to gain until it gets to, let's say, 14 seconds, 14 laps. Then you know they'll catch. But at the moment, it's 16 laps, 17 seconds. But they're doing the job bit by bit, these two. And I'd say by the middle of next lap, so maybe this time next lap, they'll probably be within a second of Laser. Just put it back to interval to see. Yep, Seb 1.6 behind. Saved a bit of battery. Oren has got plenty to use when need be. But he's just got to make sure he doesn't get a penalty. He has to use that to his advantage. Seb 1.1. Is he going to get the DRS? The detection point is right there. He's fractions off it, and now he's in it. So I think he just got it. As Laser slides out of the last corner, he's back within DRS as well of Eggy. This could determine, as Seb fastest lap of the Grand Prix, if Nick's going to win this or not. How much can Eggy and Laser hold up Seb and Oren? Seb has used all his battery in a bid to close up. Laser uses all of his battery to overtake Eggy. And things are going to get serious now. Oren flies over the first corner. Bit of grass on his right tyre. Slides out of turn 3. Just got to keep with these guys. Seb has already saved a bunch of battery, considering he was down on 5. And now he has to do what Nathan did. He's got to be in the slipstream of 2 cars and overtake them both. And for Oren's sake, he needs to be right with them to not let Seb get away. It's imperative. That's why Oren has 100% battery. That's why Seb is saving up all of his battery. That's why Laser is in none. He knows what's coming. But, crucially for Nick, he is holding them up. You can see Seb all over the back of Eggy already. Round the outside goes Seb. Gets the move done. What a move from the championship leader. And Oren now struggling to find a way past. He knows Eggy's a clean racer. And I'm sorry for Laser, but Seb will probably fly past him. Maybe even before the DRS flap comes open. As they cross the line to start lap 22, and he has done it. And Oren has got past Eggy. Can Oren use all of his battery and get Laser as well? Laser puts it in none. Gives up on Seb. Here comes Oren to the inside. And they have both done it. And Oren's going to try and get Seb as well into turn 1. Wheel to wheel. And Seb just holds on. Slightly in front of Oren. They were so close to contact. And yeah, Laser doesn't have DRS again. So the top 2 are away. And Oren's now blasting all of his battery in a bid to get past Seb. But Seb is still there. Wheel to wheel between the two. Laser and Eggy make slight contact as one of them half spins. Seb goes off the track. And Oren still wheel to wheel with him. The top 2 fighting as they head into turn 7. Seb to the inside. Oren, will he give it up? Yes, he will. And Seb gets the place. And after all of that, it's another penalty for Seb. And after all that, they lost time to Nick. It was 14.5. It's 15.2 now. Laser and Eggy will carry on their shenanigans for 4th and 5th. Eggy, again, doesn't really need to do anything. He knows he's going to beat Laser. And it's not like there's going to be any threat from behind as Nathan, after pitting, finally catches up to Chubston. I'm sure Bluey will do the same too. So now, 15 seconds, 14 laps to go. Eggy gets past Laser, who's into the pits. So that's interesting. It's 1 lap younger than Eggy and Nick, and he has to already pit for mediums. Well, he's got the free pit stop, to be fair on him. So if Eggy can't hack it, Laser could get an undercut. I don't hate that. And yeah, Nathan, of course, also has that 10 second. So he's got to watch out for Bluey here. But yeah, Eggy's left to roam in P4 once again for many a times that's happened this season. Oren, as they make slight contact, do Oren and Seb. What happened there? These two have kept it clean and respectful all season. They've never really had a big controversial moment. As you can see, Seb, I was going to say, Oren to the inside of Seb. Oren slides and breaks the polystyrene. He's going to have to give the position back. Well, he went to the inside. He's got the DRS. I was going to say, Seb's mission now is pretty much hold up Oren, because he knows 3 points gained is better than 7 or 10. So for Seb's sake, he doesn't care about winning this race. He needs to hold Oren up so they don't catch Nick. That's his goal. And at the moment, Seb's using all his battery. And he'll want to get that place back on Oren, who went for the move and then went off the track and stayed in front. Seb was in none. So Oren decided to fly by. And Oren, his mission now, get Seb out of a second. Because if that's a 5 second, as long as he beats him by a second, he'll still beat him. But his main focus is Nick. Those extra 7 points, crucial. And of course, Oren also has the no, he doesn't. Seb has the fastest lap by a 10th and a half. As wow, you can see the gap going down massively between Nick and Oren there, down to 12.7 with 12 laps to go. It's still on, and 57%, 14%. It's close to a second. Seb using his battery to keep back within. He's not letting Oren go out of his sight. It's boiling down between these two. And if something is going to happen, we can see it coming a little bit. There's been a bit of argy-bargy contact here and there, forcing off. But no actual major incident. But that is to be noted that Oren went to the inside, got the move, but then went off and stayed ahead. Anyway, 12 seconds, 12 laps. Small Nick doing his utmost best to try and hold on. And Oren doing his best to close the gap to the Williams. It's going to be another P4 for Eggy. As for 5th, down to maybe even 8th, I still don't know. Very smart from Bluey. If you're that slow, you can't get time penalties. So, yeah, as he begins lap 25. Small Nick, crucially now gets a 3-second time penalty. So, that reduces a lot of work from Oren. Well, it was 12 seconds at the start of the lap. It's already under 11. So, Oren just needs to make sure now he doesn't get a 3-second time penalty. And things are looking on the up. Because I would just keep a 5-second penalty in mind over his head. But sometimes when that kind of stuff happens, he wins by like 10 seconds. So, his biggest goal now, get Seb out of DRS because Seb has no battery. But Oren doesn't have much to play with himself. Gain on Nick, who has a plenty of battery. As Oren makes a mistake there, slides over, Seb round the outside, will have the DRS and will get in front of Oren unless Oren blasts all his battery in a bin. But they're going to remain wheel to wheel. Seb needs to cost Oren time and battle him, and he's still there. He leaves the space, slight contact between Oren and Seb. Seb looking for a switchback, goes over the curb. Oren stays in front. And yeah, 11 seconds, 10 laps to go. And Seb, in his bid for the World Championship, is doing exactly what he needs to do. Not let Oren gain on Nick. Because he knows now, even... that's right there. That's where it happened. Amazingly, the polystyrene boards are still there. Yep, Seb trying to do everything in his power. 10 seconds then. 10 laps to go. "12 laps younger hard compound tyres." Nick is going to be on 31 lap old tyres by the end. And here comes Seb round the outside, blasting all his battery. Oren doesn't put up much of a defence. He'll let Seb go. But now Seb will probably flick it in none after this DRS straight. Oren still in medium. Seb using his DRS to stay in front. And we'll still stay on Seb to see what he does with his battery, keeping it in medium. And they haven't really made much inroads on this lap to Nick. Seb knows, well, unless he overtakes Nick, gaps Oren by 6 seconds and gaps Nick by 3. He's not going to win this one. And you can see he's in none, and Oren knows it. And even still in none, they are gaining on Nick. And Oren knows it, so he puts it in none as well, gearing up for the straight. Slight contact again. What Oren needs to do is make Seb run out of battery like he is a bit now. Go wide there, make a mistake, blast all his battery, and hopefully gain a second on him. As they have still done. Even through all of that, they still gained the second they needed. Oren not blasting everything, but he's still going to make sure he has a good gap. He can use these 2 DRS straights to his advantage. He just really needs to perfect turn 1, 2, and 3. There's 1, there's 2, and there's 3. Done pretty nicely. 7 tenths. So let's see what he does. He's in hot lap, so he's not going to blast everything. And yeah, it's 7.5 tenths. So unless he can get another tenth. But he does that. He slides. He ghosts. And that's going to lose him a bit of time to Seb, who's going to once again keep with him. Oren making these mistakes crucial in his bid to try and get Seb out of a second. If he gets him out of a second, it's pretty much guaranteed that he can hold him there and close in on Nick. 8 seconds, 8 to go. This is boiling down to a very fascinating and what's going to be probably a very close finish. Remember, Oren needs to only really gain 4 and a bit seconds, but it's just something I caught that 5 second might be looming. It depends if it gets reported, and at this stage, I wouldn't blame Seb if he tried to do it, because he was right there. He was going slow. Oren went for the move, went off himself. Seb's going around the outside of Oren. Slight contact between the pair, and the pair have made contact! Seb and Oren, for the first time this season, have actually had a coming together at the Mexican Grand Prix. Seb tried round the outside. Oren tried to hang his line, and they've come together. They've lost a heap of time. And that could have solidified it, because there's a big gap behind. Seb can take penalties if he wants. Oren, though, 10 seconds, 7 laps. Drama at the Mexican Grand Prix. Finally, something has happened between them. And weirdly, I can't picture it. So Seb was going around the outside of Oren. Oren was taking his normal line. And he may have gone a slightly wide. Oren, that's wide for Oren. Seb may have turned in a bit. Oren may have gone slightly wide. It kind of looked a bit like just a racing incident. I didn't really see who was mainly at fault. But the big victor of all that is Small Nick. 6 to go. And at this rate, Oren just needs to hope, 1, what he did isn't a penalty. 2, gain a second a lap and get under 3 seconds. Seb has played his cards perfectly. He's been driving. Again, like his title depends on it, which it does. To the inside, Seb. This time they're inverted. This time Seb gets in front. They're sliding into turn 1 and 2. And Seb gets back in front. Things are hotting up in Mexico City. It's getting spicy. And on Halloween night, a bit of a fright for Oren's title hopes. As Seb positioning his car perfectly to hold on in none. Making sure Oren has no chance of winning the race. Seb taking a page out of Morgan's book from last week, holding him up tactically for the championship. And Nick, he can afford to, well, unless Nick gets a puncture. You see Oren on the back of Seb to the inside. Not usually a corner you want to go side by side in. And Seb tries a switch back, but Oren gets in front. But again, they're heading onto the straight where Seb, again, same battery levels these two, will surely fight. 10 seconds still. 6 to go. And yeah, incredible scenes for the top three. Oren and Seb came together. They had a bit of a slide. No real damage done between the pair of them in terms of their cars. But Seb to the inside. Oren hangs it round the outside. They go wheel to wheel. Again, one of them slides, losing the rear. And Oren hangs it round the outside this time. But Seb has got a great exit with the DRS, with his battery. And Oren in hot lap, still putting up a fight. Squeezes Seb to the right. And Seb, later on the brakes, goes round the outside of Oren. Oren positions his car on the inside. And now Seb will not leave. Well, he does actually leave enough room. But Oren goes off just to avoid. Seb sliding, holding him off even more now. What a battle between the top two. The gloves are starting to come off. And you can see Seb in none, lap after lap, perfecting his form. Oren really not going to like it because, again, Seb holds him up. He lets Oren go. They start the next lap and they do it all again. And look, Nick's just pulling away and he's going to get DRS for good measure. 5 to go. And unfortunately, there's nothing Oren can do unless he sits behind Seb on this straight, gets him, and in 2 DRS straights pulls a second. But it is way too late now. And Oren's biggest concern is mainly don't get a 3-second penalty. Because if he gets the 5 second, as long as he finishes within a second of Seb, he will still beat him. But Seb has fastest lap, which means out of all this, Oren's only going to gain 2 points. That was heart in mouth for Oren, who's starting to slide. Oren will only gain 2 points on Seb, which will bring it from 32 down to 30 with 4 races to go. Seb once again in none. For Oren's sake, he needs to stay behind him now, but he's not gonna. He's gonna use the DRS. He's indecisive of which way is he going to go. He finally decides to the left, and it's just a carbon copy, lap after lap. And, well, for Oren's sake, he needs to pray Small Nick gets a puncture. Unbelievably, he has been on those tyres for 28 laps. Eggy himself, 27, and it's going to be 31 by the end. I'd still keep an eye on those tyres, which look fine, honestly. There goes Seb flying past. And that's another thing Oren has to hope for. DRS from a lapped car, which is Bluey at the moment. But they're going to lap Bluey, and the next car is Chubster. But they're running out of laps. Or should I say they have run out of laps. The only one who can stop Nick from winning this Grand Prix is himself. Unless he gets like 15 seconds worth of penalties. Or 12. Once again, Seb's just going to be in none. Oren's going to be in medium. Oren's going to overtake him after this S section. And Seb's just going to get him back on the straight. They make slight contact. Oren's getting a bit fed up now. Running into the back of Seb, nearly taking them out again. Oren around the outside of Seb, wheel to wheel. Seb again, just giving it up. Seb turning his annoyance. Whoa. Is that Bluey? I don't actually know if Bluey tagged Seb there. It doesn't matter. He didn't really lose much. He's got the battery anyway. Yeah, 3 to go then. Laser with 18 seconds. Looks like he's still going to keep where he is. As, yeah, Seb flies past Oren. They both blasted all their battery. 3 to go. And is Oren going to try anything? He knows he's going to beat Seb in this race still, after everything. But does he just want to finish in front of him on track? As they're coming up to the AI of Chubster, will definitely get disqualified. So that'll promote Bluey up to 7th, another 6 points for him. Seb keeping it in none. And this AI could cause a bit of visibility problems, but it doesn't. Could have. Anyway, Oren this time not letting Seb be behind. He's going to be in none. And Seb loses it, and he's holding him up even more now. As they head into the stadium, Mexico delivers DRS chicken to the max. And this time Seb does decide to be in front, but he's got plenty of battery to use. We head on to the penultimate lap. Small Nick just has to keep his tyres intact. Seb has blasted everything. And Oren to the inside. Seb will not go defensive, so Oren will take back second. And Seb with barely any battery. Oren with 50%. Could he blast enough in this next DRS straight to get in front? It's half a second at the moment. He's in hot lap. Now he's in overtake. And Seb is also in overtake, but he's not got any battery. Oren has 8/10 between the two, as long as Oren doesn't mess up the next couple corners like he has done previously. And Seb keeping it around 7/10, but now Oren has the pace and the battery to maybe just hold on. Seb a bit quicker through the S section, closing it down to 6/10. Oren, once again, just needs to hold on, not get a penalty, and even if he gets a 5-second for what he did in the race, he will still beat Seb. He's just got to play this cautiously. Smolnik rounds the final corner to start lap 36 out of 36. 31 laps he has had those tyres on, and 31 laps of keeping it cool, calm and calculated has ended him in the lead, with these two fighting. Seb strategically holding Oren up so he can't maximise his result, can't get the win, but he'll be second at the moment. He's still got the battery. Seb hasn't got anything and can't quite challenge Oren. Massive lockup from the Aston Martin, but it looks like he's still going to stay ahead with the battery he has. And yeah, they got it down to 8. They so would have caught if they weren't fighting for the championship. If they worked together, they 100% would have caught, but they had an incident during the race that cost them 2-3 seconds. And on top of the however other many seconds Seb held Oren up, that's what's cost Oren the win today. A strategical masterclass of defending from Seb, not in your usual context, is going to end him up with, well, still his lead being eaten into, but it's not as much as he was fearing. Small Nick into the stadium section, the fireworks lighting up for the Williams driver with one corner to go. He got his first win in Vegas last season, and one season later, it's the Mexican Grand Prix. Vamos for the Williams. Small Nick wins in Mexico. Oren will come around the final corner to beat Seb for second. Seb, damage limitation, defensive masterclass for the RB. It's third and fastest lap to only lose out by 2 points to Oren. Eggy will finish fourth as a laser closed nearly a whole pit stop on him. Wow. Well, still needed 6 seconds. As Nathan will be 6th to pick up a lot of good points for him. And I'm sure his highlight of the season will be leading the Grand Prix. Chubster will probably get disqualified. That means Bluey's 7th. Morgan 8th. And yeah, Small Nick has won. They needed, well, for Oren and Seb's sake, they needed some people to get in the fight and beat the others. And once again, Oren and Seb finished second and third, second week in a row, to an amazing Victor who has lost a wheel. He's celebrating. Okay. So, doesn't even matter if Seb really reports Oren. and Oren gets a 5 sec or whatever, because it won't change anything. But I'm sure Oren's going to be very frustrated. Well, this is going to be a long race director. One warning on lap 1, one warning on lap 5, and then he didn't get a single one. That must have been the collision, lap 29. Oh. That was a warning. So lap 5 must have been a collision. Oh, okay. Yeah, collision. Oh, right, yeah. He hit the safety car. So Oren was on one warning for the majority of that. He got one more warning during the fight with Seb. And that was it. Right, let's get Seb and Oren in, because I don't think Nick is able to join, because he's obviously not Xbox. Hello. Oh yeah, yeah, give me a sec. And there we go.
The audio is included.
Alright then. We have P3 joining the party at the moment. I do not know if Oren will be joining. I wouldn't blame him if not. But while we have Seb here, I'll just invite Oren one more time. Right. That has got to be one of the most unique defences I have ever seen. You took a page out of Morgan's book last week. Sebastian, wow. So it's P3 from P2 starting on the grid. Yeah. Obviously, you didn't make the decision to pit. Same with Oren and Nathan when the safety car came out, unlike Nick, which gave him the win today. You and Oren 100% would have caught Nick, but you just thought, I can be clever here. Oren can't win the race if I hold him up, and that is exactly what you did. You start the lap, you put it in none halfway through, you let Oren go, you get the DRS again, you repeat the cycle, lap after lap. It was a brilliant defence. It got a bit too much here and there, but how was the race on your side?
It was very good. I was finally joined again by my lovely race engineer, aka last season's champion.
Hey.
And we kind of realised, I kind of just clocked me halfway through that we're catching Smolnik at a rate to not. We're catching him at roughly
Rapid pace.
It was roughly about 1.7 seconds per lap, and we were just like, losing. Well, after the penalties, I could have got mine removed because I was forced off in the double like just before the double right hand.
Then you got another one.
No, I was forced off twice. I could have got elite on it.
Oh right.
But I could have got one of my pens removed. But I was just like, even if I couldn't get that pen removed, because it's not 100%, I could have.
Yeah.
What is the most damage limitation? I got fastest lap. I'm coming third no matter what. If we catch up to Smolnik, I'm coming third. What can I do?
Yep.
And then I remember how some guy pissed me off, and when I found out that wasn't illegal, I said I would use it, and it just
Yep.
happened to be the very week after. So
Yep.
obviously it's now what would have been, I don't know what the points gap is from first to third, but well, it's
10.
10 points. So it would have, instead of having a 9 point swing in Orange's
Well, would have been
favor,
9.
it's now only a
Yeah.
2 point swing. I'm on 30 points.
Exactly.
So
Crucial 7 points. You saved yourself there. I do have to ask. There were 2 key moments. You were going in none throughout the S section
yeah,
in the middle of the lap, and then Oren
just
just
blew,
before the right
just
left.
blew past me.
Yeah, he went down your
I
inside.
didn't notice it.
What do you mean? You didn't
I didn't
notice it?
notice it. I can't. I thought he went the back of me, not in the front of me.
Oh. No,
Until
no, no, no,
until
no. So the bit where Oren gets ahead of you
yeah.
and then goes off the track and stays in front.
Oh, then
Is
God
that what
knows.
we're on about, or?
Gone. Where like in the fast like chicane, left hand, right.
Yeah, yeah, the fast chicane. You're in none. Oren goes to your inside, gets the move, goes off, stays in front.
Yeah, God knows. I just kind of saw him blasting on my inside and go off track, but
Yeah,
I didn't really compute it at the time. It was kind of until
yeah,
Logan went, "Whoa!" I kind of realized that's what happened.
yeah.
But yeah,
Um, hang on. Just messaging Oren if he's joining. But yeah, the main one I have to talk about is that turn 1 incident. You and
hmm
Oren finally, for the first time this season, had an incident together. So yeah, what exactly happened? You went round the outside.
uh, what are you saying? I was reading the chat.
Sorry, no. So we're just going to talk about that main um incident where you went round the outside of Oren at turn 1.
Right, yeah,
Yeah.
that's just a racing incident.
It did genuinely look like a racing incident.
It's
Just the
just
two of you connected
yeah,
and went
we just
off.
connected, and with how the handling model is on this game,
Yeah.
it was lit. I knew as soon as I heard the wheel like hit, where I was like, we're both spinning here. No one's
Yeah.
really gonna gain. Orin's gonna come out
Yeah.
3/10 in ahead of me, roughly what it was before I broke later into the corner.
Exactly.
So we were
I
just
think
like,
that's just a perfectly normal
that
racing
is literally
incident.
the definition of a racing incident. Yeah, I don't think
Yeah,
you can get
Oren's
more.
taking his line. You've given him space. You've unfortunately just come together and connected. Both gone off.
Yeah,
Thank goodness none of you actually lost any wing or or
nah,
tire.
yeah.
But yeah, it got a bit spicy. Of course, in Mexico. But yeah,
Yeah, but I
that
was
is
saying before this race, I absolutely bloody hate this track.
yep.
And, yeah.
So yeah, that is P3 for you. Your 32-point lead goes down to 30. 4 races to go. Aura needs to take 10 points out of you in the next 3 if he wants to be level heading into the final race, which means he would have to win the next 3 and you would need to be third. But in the last 2 weeks, you two have finished second and third, but there's been another person who's always managed to beat you. At least for your sake, that's what
Mm,
you're hoping for.
yes.
If it's not you, it's someone else. But yeah, I don't know if Oren's going to join. Again, don't blame him. I'm sure he's going to be very annoyed. But yeah, can't really say your defense was anything but brilliant. So well done. And in a way, champions drive. Ah, there we go. The sportsmanship. Oren's here. Let's go. Anyway, well done today, Seb. Another podium. And on to P2. Oren, are you there, mate? Hello. Are you able to include your audio? Ah, that's okay. That's fine. Ah, it doesn't matter. Right then. So it's P2, mate. That might be the most frustrating P2 you may ever take. Yeah. I mean, let's look at the positives. You absolutely demolished qualifying, taking your 8th pole of the season, and your 8th career pole. So that's something to be very proud of. You held it on the start, which not a lot of people do at Mexico. So well done for that. And then the safety car came out. What were your thoughts of pitting or not? Yeah. No, the thing is, it wouldn't have worked out, but obviously Seb, with his defensive um, maneuvers, I guess he obviously thwarted you from gaining on him. Um, I mean, I guess he had every right to do it, and I'm sure if roles were reversed and you were the one with this kind of gap, you may do the same thing. But Seb tried everything today to make you not win in the fairest way possible. But you kept a cool head, stuck with Seb, continuous lap after lap swaps, and it was great to see you two battle. It got a little tight at some points, and then there were two big moments which I want to ask you about. Into turn one, me and Seb just agreed it looked like the most generic, normal racing incident. But heading into turn one, when Seb went round you outside and you two made contact and both slid, what's your take on it? His front right tire connected with your side pod. Yeah. Yeah, it generally looks like the most normal, standard, like literally a tutorial video of what a racing incident looks like. And in a way, that's kind of good for your like first big incident of the season. It's about time, 18 rounds in, and now it's happened. But well, you can never really get a championship fight without that sort of stuff. But it's a racing incident as far as I think a lot of people are concerned. So hopefully no love lost there. And I do have to ask about this other thing. You know, through the S section when Seb was going in none, you went down his inside and overtook him, but then went off track and stayed in front. What were your thoughts on that? He was. I know. Yeah. 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 Usually in those case scenarios, it is probably best to give the place back because you know you're going to be swapping every lap anyway. So best to not avoid any sort of penalty. But you kept the place. I don't actually remember how long for. Maybe a lap or something. But or maybe a couple. I don't know. So that was a noteworthy moment as well as turn one. But besides that, you still kept a cool head. There were some moments where you nearly ran into the back of Seb. Actually, Seb, you still there, mate?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. When you know when you lapped Bluey
yeah.
heading into the stadium, did he rear end you?
Good
It looked
question.
it looked like
No idea.
it looked like you got rear ended.
I don't think he did because he was quite far behind, but I also accidentally
Huh.
shifted it into neutral. So I have a feeling it
Oh,
just
okay. It
kicked
may
out
have
my
been just a
rear
skill
end.
issue then. Yeah. 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 Anyway, Aaron, um, 4 races remain. You have closed from 32 to 30 points. You do need to gain an average of about 7 to 8. Literally, you pretty much just need to win every race remaining, and well, the fastest laps are going to be the big one. And if Seb finishes second in them all, so you need to gain on average 10 in the next 3 to head into the last round level. Pretty much to win this championship, you need to beat the win record as well. So that's something. But yeah, the next race. Actually, before I mention the next race, how was that restart? Oren's teammate flying past the top 2 in the World Championship to take the lead of the Mexican Grand Prix. Oh, why you invited me, Oren, for some reason. Yeah, doesn't matter. Yeah, what was your 2 thoughts on seeing Nathan fly past you into the lead?
I was just confused.
He blasted all his battery to do that, and wow, brilliant from him. But yeah, anyway, you 2 got back ahead of him, and Laser obviously did what he usually does and hit him. So yeah, still the class of the field, you 2. And on to the final 4 races we go. 30 points in it, and Oren, you just got to do what you did after Hungary with 3-4 races and close it down. It's these small minor mistakes that just costing you, and then you have some unlucky moments like, well, Seb playing his defense card today. So yeah, we move on to race 400 in Brazil next week for EXFL Tier 2. Round 19, 4 to go, race 400. I know Seb is good at Brazil. I know Oren likes Brazil as well. So we'll see how the fight goes there. How are you 2 feeling for Brazil?
Yeah.
Yep, good. Not great. Hope it rains. Yeah. To be honest, Oren, Brazil's your last hope of rain because the last 3 tracks are all night races. 2 or 3 in the desert. You never know, man. You're literally 30 points behind Seb, and within 2 races you lost 30 points to Seb. So you can see how quickly it can change. So, you know. And this is EXFL Tier 2. Anything can happen. So I wouldn't ever give up until that flag waves in Abu Dhabi. But you've driven brilliantly all season, and both of you deserve to win this. So yeah, luck swung a bit here and there, more towards Seb in the context of like Singapore, because that's a big moment. But yeah, don't give up, Oren. Literally, like I said, win the last 4, ignoring fastest laps. You've missed out on the title by 2 points, but including the fastest laps, or if Seb decides to finish 3rd in one of those races, you are world champion. So you never know. And this will probably most likely go down to the wire. But again, an easy DNF for Seb for some reason in Brazil, and Oren wins. It's down to 5 points, just like that. So anything can happen. So yeah, well done Oren, well done Seb, well done Smallnick on the victory, his 2nd in EXFL Tier 2. And we will see you for race 400 in 1 week's time at Brazil, with 4 rounds to go to decide the world champion.